I'm Lexi Maple, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about DNA profiling and law enforcement. Before DNA profiling was made, people were going to court and getting charged simply on a whim or a confession. Now, since it has been made, people are being able to catch more criminals, and it has become more efficient. More criminals are behind bars now since it's been developed, and even though that it has overcome a bunch of obstacles, there's still problems along the way. The way they work on DNA profiling is they use what this is called a double helix. It's a fundamental building block. You can get someone's DNA profile from hair follicles, bones, teeth, and blood. It's also made up of 4 chemical pairs: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. The way people figure out DNA profiling, you can figure out through a simple fingerprint. It's also known as DNA fingerprinting, DNA testing, and DNA typing. It's your own unique genetic information. The reason they use this is because it's accurate, reliable, and it can't be changed easily unless you decide to burn yourself on a stove, and no one wants to do that. It was originally developed for paternity testing in 1986. The way people get a DNA profile made is they make or steal something, and it's a simple crime. It's not exactly the same, with the exception of twins. Since it just started back in the 80s-ish, it has come a long way, and they're just starting to figure out what to do with twins. In Houston, 2005, twin brothers were charged with rape. Since DNA profiling was fairly new, and since their genes and fingerprints were similar, they couldn't figure out which was which, who drove the car, or who raped that girl. In 1986, a criminal case in England, there was also another rape and murder scene. DNA was collected from various men throughout the neighborhood. A 17-year-old originally confessed, but since DNA profiling was just starting to be used, they were able to figure out he wasn't the person who did it, and his DNA wasn't used at the scene of the crime. A year later, DNA profiling was used in the United States in Florida. Back in 1994, DNA was really being used in their first major case, the O.J. Simpson case. It was still in their early stages of DNA, but at the time it was mishandled. There was cross-contamination. They didn't have any guidelines about where to put certain things, or how not to touch blood with your hands or walk through the blood. And that was a big problem with this case, and that's why he got away with what he did. Now, since DNA profiling has been made, they were able to tell that most criminals have multiple offenses. People would get their DNA, and now since they're getting charged again, they can see, well, this person did it back then before we had it. It keeps a track record, and it's handy. And according to a study done by University of Virginia, criminals who DNA was stored in this database are 23.4% more likely to be convicted of another crime. And since the expanding of the use of this database, and if they keep doing it, and people who are coming in for a simple crime, the crime rate would possibly decrease. 3.2% would decrease in murders, 6.6% decrease will be in rapes, 2.9% decrease would be in aggravated assault, and 5.4% decrease would be in vehicle theft. Even though DNA profiling have had issues, it has progressed over time. It continues to progress, and it continue to improve and help us with all these different cases. If DNA profiling didn't exist, we wouldn't have no idea where we would be at. Crimes could be worse, criminals could be free, there could be more murders going unsolved. And since the development of it, it has been a helpful tool in society and the judicial system. Thank you.
You're at